everybody, and welcome back to the United Stand. On today's show, could there be a shock bid for another goalkeeper, as Manchester United are looking for a goalkeeper to potentially mentor Senne Lammens? I think Senne Lammens proved on his debut how good of a keeper he could be, and you expect him to be the number one for Manchester United. He's definitely going to have a fair crack of the whip of it up until the Christmas period, but in January, could Manchester United be looking to move Bayendier on and get someone who's established to help mentor Senne Lammens? Ter Stegen is the name on the list. We've been linked to Ter Stegen a lot, but it's coming out from Spain that Manchester United are seriously considering getting him in as a keeper option. Would you want that? Also, Harry Maguire exit rumours continue, looking like he will not be offered a new contract from Manchester United, which means Manchester United do definitely have to sign a centre-back in the summer. Where does that put us in terms of the money where we need to spend it? We need wing-backs, we need centre-backs now, we need midfielders. I mean, there's still a lot to do for Ruben Amorim if he's still at Manchester United. Also, Lisandro Martinez. Rumours coming out that Ruben Amorim is doubtful over his future, and he could be somebody that's moved on, not because of his ability, but because of his injury record. United are hopeful that he will play again before the end of 2025, but as good as he is, his injury record is a concern, and should we be paying somebody else who is actually fit and ready to go, despite how good Lisandro Martinez can be? That's a question I ask you guys. He's part of the leadership team at Manchester United. Ruben Amorim always waxes lyrical about him. He really likes him. But if you can't rely on a player, we've seen Ruben Amorim can be cutthroat. We've seen it. You know, he says how much he likes a player, how much we need to believe in them. Next thing you know, they're out the door. So Lisandro Martinez, if he doesn't get back fit and remain fit, he could be one that is exiting Manchester United as well. And again, that would make centre-back a huge, huge priority for us. And we've already been linked to a centre-back, which I'll bring into the show as well. But happy Monday, everybody. I come to the show to you today, guys, in a really good mood. I know it was a win against a side that has been promoted, and it follows on from our track record of beating sides that are either been relegated, promoted, or have been down to 10 men. But do you know what? I'm happy with that performance. There was so much to like, and people will say, well, Sunderland have just come up from the Championship, but they've started this season really well. They went into that game in 5th. They've got 11 points. They've done well so far in the Premier League. So there's a lot of things from that game that I'm feeling really positive about. Lammens, having a keeper, guys, having a keeper that actually looks like a goalkeeper that can catch, that can kick with both feet, by the way, that looks like he can dive properly. You know, Sesko coming into his own, Mason Mount proving that he realistically is probably in Ruben Amorim's best 11. I mean, get in the comments down below. Are you accepting yet that Mason Mount is in Ruben Amorim's best 11? There's a lot of positivity coming into this week, and of course we've got to follow it up with a win at Anfield. A win, that's what I'm eyeing up, by the way. That's what you always should be eyeing up. But how do we do that? Well, I've got a little bit of that to touch on as well. How I think we could really cause Arne Slot's side some problems. So we'll talk about it. Get your comments in. Let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So let's start off with this Ter Stegen news. I'm going to run a poll straight away. Would you take Ter Stegen at Manchester United? Get your votes in. Would you want it? I'm on the fence about it, and I'll explain why in a second. So, according to Sport in Spain, Manchester United and Sir Jim Ratcliffe have inquired about signing Barcelona goalkeeper Marc Ter Stegen, with Premier League rivals Newcastle United and Tottenham Hotspur also in the mix to sign him. The 33-year-old German is out of favour under Hansi Flick, meaning a move elsewhere is likely, with a loan option to buy possible in the January transfer window. Okay, so what I'm thinking first and foremost is Manchester United already have a connection with Barcelona. Marcus Rashford is there with a loan option to buy. So negotiations for Ter Stegen, if he was open to come in, I think would be quite reasonable. He's surplus to requirements at Barcelona. He's out of favour with Hansi Flick. He stripped the captaincy, gone back into the leadership group, but it's not plain sailing. They've not had the best relationship since Ter Stegen and Hansi Flick have both been working together. I know he's not as good as he once was. He once was one of the better goalkeepers in the world. Now I don't think he has covered himself in glory within his recent years in the goalkeeping game, I've got to be honest. And even when I've, looked at him in certain games when he was playing for Barcelona, especially towards the later times, I can understand why he did kind of get rotated out the team. He wasn't as good as he was, because he was really, really good at one point in time. However, 33 is not old for a goalkeeper. He has something to prove. He's got experience. I mean, the guy has won a Champions League and 6 La Liga titles. You don't do that from being a poor goalkeeper. You know, he's got a CV to go behind him. And I just think of where Senne Lammens is at, right? Senne Lammens is 23 years old, 22, 23. I think he's just turned 23. He is a young goalkeeper. I mean, he looks good. It's been one game, so I don't want to get carried away, but he looks really good. He looks fresh. He looks like he's got near enough every string to his bow. However, that number 1 spot at Manchester United can be a very daunting task. It is a lot of weight to put on that shirt, and don't get me wrong, his temperament from the game I've watched him in looks perfect. He looks calm, he looks cool, he looks collected. I mean, I've got a little bit to bring in about his personality as well that's been reported that puts us in good stead. He looks like he's got the attributes. It looks like our scouting department has done a really good job on Senne Lammens. However, when the going gets tough and mistakes made, there's a lot of pressure at Man United. And what could help him with that is a player that's played at a big club like Barcelona, played throughout years under pressure, a player that's been there, done that, won it. Senne Lammens, if from now until Christmas proves he's good enough to be the number 1, he's still the number 1. You bring Stegen in to be a bit of a mentor for him, have them titles under his belt and be there when needed. And it's a really, really solid option. A really solid option. I mean, similar but different to the sort of Romero that we had. You know, you've got a second choice goalkeeper that could really be a first choice goalkeeper, but you know, he's got them elements to his game and to his personality that Senne Lammens could really benefit from. Adds mentality into the dressing room, adds a proven winner into the dressing room. I quite like the idea of it. If he was coming in as the number 1, I'd say no. I wouldn't want him to come in as the number 1. I don't think he's reliable enough. And if I was going to go for someone of that age, 33, I would be going for Martinez from Aston Villa. But Martinez demands to be the number 1 and should be the number 1 if he's at your club. To Stegen, after his recent years and his current situation, I don't think he comes in and immediately demands the number 1 spot. He might want to go to a club where he is number 1, but he's currently not. And I think with Senne Lammens there, it's a really good complementary balance of having someone. If Manchester United are in Europe, you know, in the cup competitions, ter Stegen will absolutely get game time, but it also allows Senne Lammens to develop. It allows Senne Lammens to learn from him. I think it's a good balance, and it adds, you know, that bit of steel and mentality into the dressing room, which I do think Manchester United lack. So I like it. If he was number 1, I wouldn't trust it. Coming in to partner Senne Lammens is competition for that number 1 spot, and as someone who can help develop him, I'm there for it. I really am. Run the poll what you think. I think it is. I think it's interesting. I really do. And we've been linked to him multiple times before. Hans Bolton's immediately said he will not accept second choice. He will not accept to be a second choice goalkeeper though. Maybe not, but he's currently not first choice, and he might see it as a challenge. You know, Senne Lammens is young, he could get in there. He might see it that way. I want to build with Senne Lammens for the future, and I think Senne Lammens will be the number 1. But he might see it as a real opportunity to have a fresh challenge, and he might want to. You don't know how much his wages will be. That's a conversation to be had. However, it's really tough nowadays to get in a good second choice keeper because everybody wants game time. Everybody wants to be playing, and young goalkeepers especially really want to be playing. I do think it's important when we've got 23-year-old Senne Lammens who has literally played one game. It looks like he's got a massive amount of potential, but played one game, that you have some leadership there, some experience for him to lean on. It's the most criticised position in world football. So if you could get it done, I would actually do it. I really would. Get your votes down in the poll as well. Oh my gosh, it's 50-50. 50% yes, 50% no. Let me know. Rob Always United says, have you moved in yet, Beth? Not yet, Rob. Not yet. The renovation process, if you don't know, I'm currently in the process of renovating a house that I have bought. Thank you to I don't know who I'm thanking. Thank you to Mr. Goldbridge that I can afford to buy a house. But I'm currently renovating it, and if any of you guys have renovated a house, I was supposed to have moved in like of 2 weeks ago, and I'm nowhere near close. There's a lot of different things that keep happening, but it will be worth it eventually. It will be worth it eventually, and I'm going to have a little at-home setup as well as a studio, so I can go live at any time. We signed to Stegen at 1 a.m. in the morning in the January transfer window. I can stream live to you from any location, i.e. my house, which will be great. And I've got some cool United memorabilia that's going to go in there. It's going to be great, but it's challenging so far. But we'll get there. Thank you for asking. Mario Franco says, Ter Stegen is a traffic cone and has expensive wages. I admit he's not been as good as he once was in his recent performances. However, there is a good goalkeeper in there. You're not relying on him to come in and be number one. And okay, yeah, the wages are something that you'd have to discuss, and we know what Ineos's stance are on that. You don't want to be paying over the odds. But you've got to understand what you're also getting back, which I've spoken about. Champions League winner, La Liga, multiple La Liga winner, experience, might not demand to be number one every game. The dressing room needs some sort of leadership in there. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. You have your thoughts. I'll keep the poll running while I move on to the next topic of conversation, because we've got a lot to get into this afternoon, and it is the centre-back situation. I mean, just quickly, I'm going to leave that poll running, but I might do another one about Lisandro Martinez in a second. But please comment just straight away into the chat. You guys watching or listening, wherever you are. Lisandro Martinez, move him on or keep him. I know he's a fan's favourite and he's absolutely got ability, but think about the injury record as well. Moving on or keep him, let me know. And as we're talking about that, I'm going to bring in the Maguire stuff. So, this is what's currently coming in at this moment in time from the Daily Mirror. Ruben Amorim is planning for life without Harry Maguire and has doubts over the future of another Manchester United defender, that is Lisandro Martinez. Manchester United triggered a 12-month extension in Maguire's contract at the start of 2025, but the Daily Mirror say he will not be offered another deal. As a result, Ruben Amorim is planning for life without Maguire, who will be free to negotiate with other clubs come January, and has attracted interest from two Saudi Pro League clubs, and they are Al Nassr and Al Attifaq. So he might be looking for that Saudi move, and I'm not saying Maguire's on the hunt for a Saudi move, but if United aren't offering him a new deal, then he absolutely has the right to explore that. Do I think Maguire could take a Saudi move? Yes, I do. Thomas Tuchel's not calling him up, which I actually think is a mistake. I'd still call Maguire up for England, I'm going to be honest, as an England fan. I still would. I think he's got a place in that squad. Thomas Tuchel doesn't seem to fancy him. So it's not as if he's trying to stay in Europe to play for his England career. He's had a good England career, Harry Maguire. And I think at his age, he's turning 33 in March. I don't want to write anyone off because of their age, because you can still be a really good player at that age. But him in interviews himself says his body reacts so differently now than what it does a few years ago when he was in his 20s. You know, it is different. You have to adapt your game. Thomas Tuchel doesn't fancy him at this moment in time. Thomas Tuchel doesn't seem like he's going anywhere for England. Maguire doesn't have a new contract on the table from Manchester United. It makes sense for him to start negotiating for other moves in January. He is going to go, I think. And I think it's the right decision. We've spoken about it multiple times on many shows. We've run polls on it before. And I've said, look, mentality-wise, good to have him in the dressing room. The obstacles he's overcome to still be a good player for Manchester United, the moments he's provided with us, I think he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think he's an example to the younger players of how to get through tough times. I think he's an utmost professional. However, he's not a centre-back that you're going to be planning with for the next few years. And even now, like, he's not in your starting 11, is he? Let's be honest. Your starting back three is either Shaw or Martinez on the left, De Ligt central, and then either Yoro or Mazraoui on the right. That's what it is. You'd argue the best back three is Shaw, De Ligt, Yoro, but people might have different opinions. I love Mazraoui. Martinez, when he's on it, he's good as well. So he doesn't make it in there. He's good for certain games. He's good to bring on off the bench, you know, when you're defending a lead, when you're wanting to score a goal. You know, we've called him Harry Maguire before. He can get up there in the box, you know. His heading ability is great when you're getting peppered, when you're getting pressured. at the end of the game and you're holding on to a lead, and also he's good to get up on the other end of the pitch when you're chasing a goal. For example, the Lyon game last season. However, you're paying him 190 grand a week. That money could be going on a Marc Guéhi, who I don't think will sign, but if we have any chance of doing so, I'd be in there. That money could be going on someone who has the ability to be one of the best centre-backs in the league that is going into their prime. Not on somebody who is good to come off the bench for 20 minutes at the end of the game and can fill in with fear. I like Maguire. I still think he's got a lot to give. But I think at this point, when his contract's coming to the end, it's the right thing to do to move him on. It's exactly what Manchester United should be doing, as much as I do like him. So that begs the question of what centre-back do you go for? Well, it's also come out in this report that Manchester United are still leading the race to try and sign Jarrad Branthwaite from Everton. United have held interest in Branthwaite for a number of years, but they have previously... They've just said no to Everton's asking price because it's been too high. Branthwaite remains a figure of interest inside Old Trafford, as Amorim not only expects Maguire to leave, but also has doubts over Lisandro Martinez. Maguire going, but also Lisandro Martinez could be going. And I know a lot of people straight away might think, no, there's no way Lisandro Martinez will go. He's part of the senior leadership team at Manchester United. Ruben Amorim really likes him. He's suited to this system. Why would he go? And I think they're all valid points. He's a brilliant leader. He's got a good mentality. He's won stuff. He's been really important in crucial winning moments for Manchester United. I think before he got injured around last Christmas time, he was really coming into his own under Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim does like him. However, you need to be able to use it. You need to be able to use it. It's like having a Lamborghini in the garage and never being able to take it off the drive. What's the point in having it? I want to be able to use Lisandro Martinez, but if he's not going to be available, you sell the Lamborghini and you go and get, I don't know, whatever other car that you want to get. It's still a nice car, a Tiguan. Something that's going to be really, really good for you. Still a nice car, going to get you about, reliable, and don't get me wrong, we could, to be fair, with Lisandro Martinez, if he went, we could get someone of the same level as him. It wouldn't have to be a downgrade. Not saying a Tiguan is a downgrade from a Lamborghini. It's whatever floats your boat. What I'm basically saying is, Lisandro Martinez is absolutely a good player. However, if he continues to be injured all of the time, you have to move him on. You do. And I can already see what people are going to say. But Beth, you rate Luke Shaw. Beth, but you want Luke Shaw to stay. Beth, but you'd start Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw currently he's been on a deal where you're not going to be able to shift him. And when Luke Shaw is fit, he is one of the best players in the team, in my opinion. However, I admit, if Shaw gets injured from now and he's injured, throughout the season, I would also be looking to move him on, as much as I love Shaw as well. The main important thing for these sort of players, Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, who are both good players and when fit, are probably part of our best 11. I mean, yeah, they are. You want them to stay, you want them to be able to play for Manchester United on a weekly basis, but if they're always getting injured, you've got to know when to move them on and get players in who can actually stand up and fight for you every single week. It's all well and good Lisandro Martinez having a brilliant mentality, being good in the dressing room, and having that fight, having that aggression, but if you can't be utilising it every week, then it comes to a point where you've got to invest that money into somebody who can play every week, who is of the ability to compete at the top of the Premier League for United, but also can stay fit. You need that. And there's questions whether Lisandro Martinez actually is as good as we want him to be. He was amazing in his first season with Raphael Varane, but he's next to Raphael Varane. I think after Varane left, you've not seen the best Lisandro Martinez until that little period under Amorim, where he scored at Anfield and he was doing really well, and then he got injured again. But I think he's had 2 or 3 long-term injuries now at Manchester United. I can't remember many of his games apart from when he does play. I've noticed it's been in periods where we've really needed him, and he's been a winner. You know, he's made himself fit for finals before. He's had some really good games in his Manchester United career. There's just not been enough of them. So would you get rid of Martinez? Let me know. For me, it's all about how he responds back from this injury. With Lisandro Martinez, I'm at the point now where if he gets back fit, and the reports coming out that United hope to see him back before the end of 2025. It's been a year out for Lisandro Martinez, a year, after how long he was out the first time. I don't know if you can come back from that. I hope he can. But for me, where I'm at with Lisandro Martinez now is get fit before the end of 2025, stay fit for the season. If he can stay fit for the season and he can play well, then we continue with him. However, if he gets injured one more time, for me, you've got to try and move him on. As much as I like him, as good as he can be, you just can't keep hoping that the Lamborghini is going to get off the drive and it keeps breaking down before you get off the street. You just can't. You can't keep going on like that. It's living in blind hope. You've got to look at the past. You have Jesus says, isn't he supposed to be back this month? Apparently so, but I read a report today saying United hope that he's going to be back before the end of 2025. I don't know when he's going to be back. I saw something early this morning that they hope to have them back after the international break. Lisandro Martinez and Noussair Mazraoui. Let's hope he can get back as soon as possible. I think we need him. I mean, I'd love to see Luke Shaw at left wing back and Lisandro Martinez at left sided centre back. That's in my opinion, that's definitely our best left hand side. However, both of them are injury prone. So it's like they could break down at any moment. It's tough. It's really, really tough. But that's why you need to potentially look at moving them injury prone players on and then bringing players in that are as good as Martinez and Shaw, which is tough because they're both pretty good players, but bringing players in that are as good as, if not better, that can also play every week. That's what the standard should be at Manchester United. I'm not saying these aren't good players because they are, but you've got to have them available all the time or else you're not going to be able to get a consistent run and able to compete. Fair play to Luke Shaw, touch wood. And do you know what? It makes me laugh because people rinse Luke Shaw on a weekly basis. If Luke Shaw gets injured and Martinez is unavailable, you'll be wishing he's back fit. Trust me on that. Because he's stayed fit now since the start of the season. That's good going for him. It really is. So my mission is to get Luke Shaw to Christmas now and see if it can kick on. He spoke to us at the United stand. He spoke to me when we were in Chicago and he said he's not bothered about anything else apart from staying fit for Manchester United this season, and that's his aim, and he's doing everything to do it. So far, so good. Let's see. So yeah, it's one of them where let's see how long these players last. And if you look at Lisandro Martinez's contract situation as well, let me just get it up quickly. I think it ends in 2027. Lisandro Martinez, Manchester United contract is set to expire on June the 30th, 2027. So, again, usually when a player enters into the final year of the contract, which will be in 2026, the club tries to negotiate a new deal to avoid the possibility of losing them for free. Be very, very telling whether Manchester United do that. And I think a lot of it depends on whether he stays fit, because you either offer him a new deal or he runs it down. And that decision has to be made going into 2026 because his contract expires in 2027. So when Martinez gets fit, I think it's all about how good he is and if he can stay injury-free whilst playing at a good level. So time will tell, but I would be leaning towards the invest into the new, into the consistent, into the injury-free centre-back. And I've seen a few people laughing in the comments about me even mentioning Marc Guéhi. Doesn't necessarily have to be Marc Guéhi. I'm not delusional. If United continue it where we are, of course he's going to be more attracted to clubs that are more successful than us currently. However, people thought Mbeumo was going to go to a club that was in the Champions League. People thought, Cunha was going to go to a club in the Champions League, and we managed to get them deals done. I understand if Liverpool are there and they are still highly competitive, he's going to go to Liverpool. It was all set up. However, he's not the only centre-back that you can go and get. I mean, look at Arsenal's recruitment when it comes to centre-backs. There's other centre-backs out there that United can go and look at and go and get that are of a really good calibre. So yeah, I'll see what the poll's on in a second as well, and I'll have a look to what you guys are saying at Martinez. We've got some super chats in. Stuart says, you were great on Football Focus, Beth. Thank you very much for that, Stuart. I do appreciate it. McAster says, sorry, but anyone who wants to Stegen is out of his mind. I'd rather have Onana back. Instant block? Does that warrant an instant block? I'd rather have Onana back. Don't utter them words, please. Do not utter them words, please. Don't be careful what you wish for. Again, he's not going to be number one, is he? Like I've just said, that's the whole point of him coming back in. In terms of the poll, would you take ter Stegen at Manchester United? 49% of you say yes, 51% say no, so it's very, very, very 50-50. Just on that, by the way, I am joking. Everyone's allowed their own opinion, and we can all get stuff wrong. Macaster, I've got stuff wrong in the past. Onana one was a big one. Let's keep that quiet. But Lammens looks good. It looks like we're coming through that now. And everyone who's been coming for me on Mason Mount, and sooner or later we're going to have a conversation whether, if he can stay fit, he's in the best 11. He's in the best 11. Like, and people, I've had people messaging me throughout this week. Oh, Mason Mount isn't that good, Beth. Mason Mount isn't that good, Beth. Look, it's as simple as this. When Mason Mount plays for Manchester United play better. For the team, he needs to play. He needs to play. It's my opinion. You're entitled to your own. The issue with Mason Mount is the inconsistency because of injuries. And when you're out for so long, it's hard to get back into the swing of things. But he looks like he's getting back more towards the Mason Mount we thought we were getting. The Mason Mount that won a Champions League, which people failed to forget. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting how, if Mason Mount stays fit and keeps playing well, how Ruben Amorim actually balances his team selections. Going to be really interesting on that. Ian Tracy says, the club have a 1-year extension option for Martinez, so they'll have extra time to decide. I'd be looking to move him on. We need to be ruthless. Do they have a 1-year extension? Yeah, they do. They do. Good comment in there. I looked before and I couldn't see that, but I've just gone and had a look and they do. So thank you, Ian, for your brilliant contribution in there. But yeah, also guys, just while we're here talking, before I move on to the last point of call, and that is a little bit about the Liverpool game. And I know it's early days, but I just want to touch on something that I've noticed. I want to remind you, when you're talking about other football teams, that's football. Going to be a video dropping on there every single day to get all your other Premier League, European footballing news, watch-alongs on there, Bundesliga every Friday. It's a great community and a great place to be. I'm sure a lot of you are already there, but if you're not, I know a video came out earlier this morning. Make sure you head over there, smash the notifications on and go and watch that after this, and stay tuned for all the watch-alongs. And just in terms of talking about maybe getting a ter Stegen, talking about the January transfer window, Ben Jacobs still on. I know it's international break. Ben Jacobs is still joining us on Thursday, and I can't wait to ask him about Amorim thoughts. It's coming out now that Sergio wants to give him a season. Easy to say that after you get a win at Old Trafford, but we've got to keep realistic. We can't keep being so reactionary. We need to see the consistency, and also, of course, I've got to ask him about January. It's getting closer and closer now. Getting closer and closer. We've got to ask a little bit about Manchester United's plans, because if Ruben Amorim is going to stay, he needs some more backing, that's for sure. But anyway, guys, just a couple little points I wanted to bring in before we wrap up. And first point is, I saw this quote from Mason Mount, which I thought was really interesting. This was on Senne Lammens. He said, any danger of the opposition team pressing, Senne Lammens puts it into Benjamin Sesko and we work off that. I think Lammens kind of released the pressure a lot today. That was speaking about the Sunderland game. And it just kind of occurred to me that having Sesko now, 6'5", I think actually has grown a lot, not in height, but in confidence of actually getting up for them long balls. As the games have progressed, he's got better and better at it, wrestling with his centre-backs and getting that flick on. He did it in the Chelsea game, which got Sanchez sent off, with Mbeumo run through. It makes sense now to have the goalkeeper go long. Before, when Onana was just aimlessly punting it up the pitch and it was going to nobody, and pressure was instantly coming back on us, and we're all sat here thinking, hello, one of the reasons we wanted Onana was because of ball distribution and being able to play out from the back, and we're just pumping it long every time and putting pressure back on us. Like, we might as well have kept De Gea, who did that, but also was a way better shot stopper. So it's not adding up here. Like, why are we not actually utilising him to his best ability? And Onana just wasn't actually good at distribution at Manchester United, which is crazy because at Inter, that was his bread and butter. So now it makes sense to actually be doing them long balls because it's helping the team. You've got Benjamin Sesko, who's such a good focal point, who is big, who can get up, and he knocks it down. And you're waiting for, if you win that second ball as United, you can create an attack pretty easily, and Mason Mount's really good at reading that and being there to kind of help progress the play up the pitch when that happens. So it was a good tactic, that, and it finally makes sense now, whereas when we were doing it under Onana, there was 0 point. And no disrespect to like Højlund at the time, it's not as much of his game. He's more of a turn, pace, running behind, like in that game where De Bruyne fizzed the ball into him, running behind it, great goal. Every striker's got different attributes, but Benjamin Sesko being that guy that can actually like relieve that pressure off us, and Senne Lammens being able to use both feet to get it into Benjamin Sesko, it's good to have that. And just a little bit more on Lammens as well. Manchester United source, and this came out from Pete Hall, Manchester United source on Senne Lammens, he's one of the first into training, one of the last out, does extra sessions all the time too, whether that's working on his distribution or other things. It's hardly groundbreaking to come in and work this hard initially, but it certainly sets the tone. He means business. So loads of reports coming out now about how professional, above his years, how good Senne Lammens has been behind the scenes. Of course, no one's going to come out and be like, oh, this guy's, rubbish. He's never on time. He doesn't do this. However, you expect a new signing to be professional. You expect them to want to earn the place as number one. You expect them to want to kick on. You've got the privilege of being Manchester United's number one goalkeeper. However, all these things are good things to hear. And you could tell. You could actually tell in that Sunderland game. His temperament was great. He seemed confident. He was demanding of his back line, even though he was only 23 and just come into the club. Tick, 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 tick. All good things I want to hear. We've just got to see it. We've just got to see him play well on a consistent basis, really. And then, last but not least, I wanted to bring in this quote, and shout out to Stephen Railston from the MEM because I seen it on his X and I wanted to bring it into this show. I'm not going to claim it as my own point, but he said this, which I thought was really interesting. He mentioned Arne Slot's comment after facing Newcastle. And Liverpool are under a little bit of pressure at the moment. I know it's crazy because the top of the... well, they're not actually. Arsenal top of the league, but they're still close to top of the league. They just had a little blip. Lost against Palace, lost against Galatasaray, and now, have lost again against Chelsea. So this is what he said after facing Newcastle, which, by the way, they were very lucky to win that game. It was right at the end there. It was a crazy game. Newcastle played really well, but he said this comment: I'm not too sure if I saw a football match. It was set piece after set piece, long throws. United were direct against Sunderland and should do the same at Anfield. This was Stephen Railston's comment. Slot doesn't like it. Manchester United's last away win at Liverpool in 2016 was scrappy, so I wanted to bring it in. So Slot said, I'm not too sure if I saw a football match. It was set piece after set piece, long throws. So United did that against Sunderland. The Sunderland manager came out and acknowledged that they struggled to deal with it. Sesko's up there, utilise him, go at Liverpool, be direct, put the long balls in. We were debating on the forum whether it's going to be Dalot or Dorgu left wing back. Dalot has been really poor, but he's got that long throw that actually did result in a goal for us. So that might be the route Amorim goes down. Go at Liverpool, be confident. They're on a losing run. We've just won a game. Okay, yeah, I know still our track record is poor, but at the end of the day, it's Liverpool versus United, and Liverpool have weaknesses. And I think that's one of the key areas that Stephen Railston's pointed out, that we can go and attack Liverpool by using that tactic that Amorim has resorted to a couple of times now, which is that long ball, staying compact and then going direct. That is something that I would like to see us do at Anfield. And yeah, okay, Stoke City settings, the Stoke stand. It's not really, because we actually had some really good attacks against Sunderland. We had some really good moments, and I found that a way more enjoyable watch than the Brentford game, and way more enjoyable watch. We're creating chances, and we're not just sitting in and then hoping for like a corner like Arsenal do. There's multiple strings to the bow, and even so, like Arsenal, okay, it's not the most pleasant watch, but the top of the league, they're getting points on the board. United need to get points on the board ASAP, and if there's areas of weaknesses for Liverpool, we should be looking to expose them. I don't care if we come out that game and everyone's saying, oh, played like Stoke. Have we got points? Have we got points? Would we have got points if we went there and pressed the life out of them and just allowed them to walk through our midfield and pepper us? You know, we've got to go there with an understanding we're not at the level that we want to be yet, where we can just kind of turn up and do what we want. We've got to go there with a game plan, and direct long balls into Liverpool could be something that they struggle with a little bit, and we could use to our strength. We have a couple people as well in the comments talking about who cares as long as we win. Arsenal are corner City, so what? Their midfield will batter us, says Daniel. Let's play Dallo. He can throw it if he could help. It would help if he could kick the thing, though. And also the poll onto Stegen for Manchester United is no 50%, yes 50% after 3,000 votes. So keep commenting. Cornelius Bland says, I truly feel Sesko is going to go off the more comfortable he gets, demand service and see how much of a good signing he can be. I really do like the look of Benjamin Sesko. I really do. I was really unsure at first, but the more I see him, the better he gets. I like his attributes. He's got potential. I'm excited for it. But look, everyone, that's all we've got time for. Smash a like on the video if you've not already. Do remember, daily football videos on That's Football that you've got to go and check out. Daily news shows on the United Stand. We've got some good content coming up during the international break. I'm just actually about to go and film some with Maud. It's going to be cracking. And as well, Ben Jacobs Thursday. Don't miss it. I'm going to be going through the comments, so make sure you smash them in. To Stegen, yes or no. Martinez, keep or try and move him on. Thoughts about Lammens, thoughts about that Liverpool game, few early predictions and how you think we go at it. Do you care if we play a bit Stokish as long as we get the points? I enjoyed that Sunderland performance. Liverpool are different to Sunderland, but there's different tactics you can use in game to sort of catch the opposition off guard and target their weaknesses. And Amorim's got to do that. We're desperate for points. Let me know your thoughts. Smash a like on the video. Have a lovely week, everyone, and I will see you on the next one.